Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Figured I'd make a video on my way to work today. I got over an hour drive, so I figured I'd make, I don't know about a quick video, but I'll try to make it as quick as I can. I get asked this question quite frequently, especially around this time of year. It's about to be New Year's, and people want to start getting in shape, making their resolutions. It happens every year. Most people don't stick with it. Everybody knows that. People ask me, what should I do? What exercises should I do? What program should I follow? What is your advice to me? And before I get into my advice, I want to put a disclaimer out there. I'm not claiming to be a professional. I did used to be a personal trainer years back in my 20s. I'm almost 40 years old now, so it's been a while, but I still keep up with the latest research as much as I can, latest techniques. So, you can take my advice if you want, but I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not a professional, once again. So, with that being said, my advice to anybody who's new to fitness, it really depends on your goals. But regardless of your goals, consistency is number one, and your eating habits. I'm not going to say diet, because you need to really change your eating habits if you want to get into optimal health and shape, I guess you would say. And please, if you're going to change your diet, don't do like a fad diet and drastically just change everything you eat overnight, because that is never going to work. You're not going to stick with it. It usually takes years to formulate, a healthy eating. I mean, it can be quicker. It depends on the person and your motivation. I mean, it took me years to get to where I am now with my eating habits. And I'm not going to say I don't eat pizza and cake and cookies. I do eat that stuff. I just cut it down to like 90 to 95% of the time I eat healthy. And it works for me. I was almost a diabetic. I was 300 pounds, which is about 100 pounds more than what I should have been. I still worked out, I've said in other videos, but I was extremely unhealthy. I had extremely high blood pressure. I was about to go on blood pressure medication. They told me I was almost definitely going to have diabetes. I was a drug addict. I was, you name it. I had done it. And I decided to make a change. So, I did. And I was in shape before I got up to 300 pounds. I was always in shape. I was always healthy. I started actually lifting weights, I would say, when I was about 14 years old. So I have a lot of years of experience in the gym. Not just with bro science, but I worked out with a lot of professionals. I've trained a lot of people and seen results. So, I don't know. You can take my opinion, like I said, with a grain of salt. I mean, there's lots of information out there these days. When I first started working out, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have, YouTube. We didn't have YouTube. YouTube is a great resource, but it can also be, a bad resource as well. There's a lot of really actually large fitness YouTubers that don't know what the fuck they are talking about. So there's a lot of channels on YouTube that you can watch that will actually call these people out on their bullshit, because there's a lot of bullshit out there, and it's hard to know. Especially if you don't know what you're doing, it's hard to know where to begin. So I'm going to say, like I said before, consistency. As long as you're doing something on a consistent basis, you're going to see results. Number one thing people usually do when they go to the gym for the first time, what do? They get on the treadmill. They do some bicep curls, especially if you're a man. I got to do a lot of bicep curls? That's what they always ask me. No. I rarely do bicep curls. I do some in my videos because I know that's what people like to see. But to tell you the truth, I rarely do bicep curls. You get so much bicep work in a lot of the pulling exercises that you're going to do. What else do they do? Sit-ups, crunches. And then they don't see results within like the first month, and they give up. You're not going to see results with things like that. I mean, walking on a treadmill and walking outside and running, yes, you will lose weight, but you're not going to gain muscle. And that's what usually a lot of people are asking me. Like, how do I gain muscle? How do I get in shape? To put on muscle, you're going to have to do compound movements, compound exercises, not isolation movements. Isolation movements have their place. Usually I do those at the end of the workout. or as a like a burnout type of thing. I'm gonna list 10 exercises that I think every beginner should just stick with. Learn the basics. Once you have those down, then you can start implementing some of these other isolation movements or exercises that you see on Facebook or on YouTube or just about everywhere these days. So first I'm going to start with the body weight, because I like doing body weight exercises as well. I think everybody should be able to do body weight exercises. I'm going to say push-ups, pull-ups, air squats, and burpees, which I know everybody probably hates. I mean, most people can't even do a pull-up, especially if you've never worked out. So they have assisted pull-ups. You can do push-ups on your knees. Air squats, just about everybody can do. And before you discredit air squats, go home and try to do 50 or 100 air squats. I don't even care if you're an experienced weightlifter, you're gonna feel that. So those four, is that four? Yeah. Push-ups, pull-ups, burpees, air squats, and then we're gonna get into the compound movements with weights. I'm gonna say bench press, overhead press, some type of row or lat pull. I mean, there's so many different row variations. There's also a lot of bench variations. You can do dumbbell, flat bench. I think you should do all of them. I mean, I'm just saying in general, bench press, overhead press, some type of row. We're gonna say farmer's walks. I know a lot of people don't do farmer's walks, but they are incredible for grip strength, for trap strength, for upper back development, and in everyday life you're going to pick things up and carry them somewhere, so it actually applies to real life. Deadlifts, which I don't do a lot of deadlifting, not with barbell anymore. I do a lot of stiff-legged deadlifts and dumbbell deadlifts, and that's really because I don't have a lot of room in my garage. And I also had some lower back issues before, so I don't do really heavy deadlifts, but everybody should be doing deadlifts. It's another one that actually applies to real life. You're going to pick things up off the ground and lift them up. Deadlift is an overall great exercise for your overall body. Squats, barbell back squats, front squats. There's a lot of variations there too. And there's a lot of videos online that are going to tell you which form is right for squats. And there's a lot of right answers for that. It depends on your goal, again, but for a beginner, this is a technique that I was taught, and I'm not sure if everyone's going to agree with this. To get your squat form down, I lay on my back and I pull my knees up into my chest and I look at my foot position. That is your natural squat position. So if you're going to squat down, you want to keep your feet right in that same, however you're comfortable. If you put a lot of weight on your back, especially if you're not experienced, and you try to put your feet in a position that you're not comfortable in, you could really injure yourself. You could pop your hip out of socket. You could hurt your back. I mean, they tell you to push off from your heels. That's what everybody was always taught, and now we're finding that that's not actually. I never actually did that anyway. I used my whole foot when I pushed off for squats. And I stopped doing squats for a long time, and I just got back into them the last year. So I had to kind of like rebuild my squat. But a good way to rebuild your squat is doing box squats. So even if you don't have a box, use like a bucket. That's what I use now, a bucket, or stack up a few plates, whatever you have available, to the height that you feel comfortable, and then drop. I mean, you don't want to go lower than you're comfortable on a squat, especially if you're first starting out. I know I'm getting into a lot of detail. I'm trying to be simple here. So what do we got now? Was that 10? Is that 10 yet? I don't know if I have all of them. We have push-ups, pull-ups, air squats, burpees, which I've done a lot of videos on burpees. I don't recommend doing burpees every single day, but I think burpee is a great exercise for overall body and cardiovascular health. We got bench press, overhead press, deadlifts, squats, farmer's walks, and what's the last one? There's got to be one more that I would recommend. I don't know. I can't think of any more. But I'm gonna have some videos demonstrating these exercises. Please if you go on YouTube, there's so much stuff on there that is misinformation. So there's a lot of YouTubers that are calling out these big time fitness Instagrammers or YouTubers. I recommend watching those, and then you'll know at least who not to watch. Of course, I'm going to recommend Jeff Cavaliere. I respect his opinion on everything. He's actually a physical therapist and a personal trainer, and the guy, he's a doctor and he's in shape. Hey guys, I apologize for the car footage. I've been trying to shoot this video for a while, just didn't like the way it was coming out, but I'm just going to roll with it. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. To pick up where I left off, there's a lot of fitness YouTube channels out there that just are garbage, and there's a few channels out there that call these bigger fitness channels out. I'm gonna list them down here, but I'm also gonna talk about them for a minute. One is James with Shredded Sports Science. The guy's very knowledgeable, very articulate. I do recommend watching his channel. Alan Roberts at Every Damn Day Fitness. He has a different approach. He's kind of an angry guy, but I mean, he has good reason to be with some of these people. There's a lot of people out there just basically making shit up and selling programs and taking steroids and telling you if you take their supplements you're going to look like them, which is complete horseshit. Another guy that I watch that's a newer YouTuber, he has a channel called Pure Bullfit. He's very articulate, very knowledgeable, a strong guy. He actually was a former Marine, had a lot of service-connected injuries, and they told him he wasn't going to be able to exercise ever again, pretty much. And he actually beat the odds, and he's a very strong guy. He seems like a really nice guy too. I recommend his channel as well. And while we're on the topic of steroids, not that any of those guys use steroids or anything, but the new trend on the YouTube fitness agenda, I guess, is just people calling out if they're natural or not. So they'll different channels will be picking people and just seeing if they're on steroids or if they're not. And I'm going to have to say, I've known a lot of people on steroids. I never taken them myself. I'm not really I'm knowledgeable to a certain point, I guess. But I'm going to have to say this. There's I don't know, 90% of the people that I've seen that are on steroids, you would never be able to tell. They still look like shit. Just because you do steroids doesn't mean you're going to blow up and be some huge monster all jacked up. You have to actually put in the work. So these guys that are doing all these drugs, I mean, regardless if it's wrong or not, they're still putting in a lot of hard work. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into your genetics, how hard you train, man, frequency. But I will tell you this, the guys that I knew that took steroids that actually I saw make changes, they worked out like crazy. I remember one guy in college, he was telling me he would get done working out, he would get home and he'd feel like working out again. His muscles were always ready to go. So that might be a reason that you see these guys that are so huge. It makes you want to work out, I guess. It probably depends on the dosage and the person. I'm not saying it's like that for everybody. But I also saw a recent study that if you take steroids one time, I've heard some other people talking about this. I'm not a scientist, so, don't quote me on any of this stuff I say. Like I said, I don't claim to be a professional. I'm just a regular guy. I mean, I'm a mortgage broker. I'm not even a personal trainer. But if you need a mortgage, especially I do VA loans in any state. So anybody needs a refinance or you're looking to buy a house or pull cash out of your house, I'm your guy. Contact me. Let me get off the point. So the studies that I saw say that basically if you've taken even one cycle of steroids in your lifetime, it alters your DNA forever. So you'll be able to, I guess, put on muscle faster for the rest of your life. Is basically what I took from the article. It just basically changes the structure of your DNA somehow, which I'm not sure if it's valid or not. I just thought it was interesting. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's a lot more to come. I appreciate you guys who've been subscribing and watching my videos. I'll see you guys next time.
That's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians.